is Ian saying, hey, we've recorded, what, 2 episodes? We've gone throughout, I don't know, 6 ounces? Hey, Dave, let's pour another one. Do you want it? And Dave saying, yes, Ian, I do.
Hey everybody, welcome to Another Proof. My name's Ian. I got Daryl and Dave here, and we are checking out some Glennevan whiskey, some good old Canadian whiskey.
I'm Dave, and I'm ready to drink some whiskey with some good friends.
And I don't know how to follow that up. I'm Daryl, Whiskey Sith, and I have not had any Glennevan whiskey before, so I'm looking forward to trying this one.
Ooh, that's sweet. I'm getting like
sweet
honey,
honey,
a little floral.
Honey.
You don't get honey?
I thought you called me honey.
Oh, you know how I do.
There.
No, I'm getting like honey. It's sweet on the nose.
Pretty sweet overall. It's definitely a Canadian profile. It's a rye whiskey. So this one's triple barreled. Glennevan Cabot Triple Barreled Canadian Rye Whiskey. So they take the basic 12-year-old whiskey from Alberta distillers, I believe. They transport it from Alberta to Nova Scotia, and then they rebarrel it there. So they double barrel the rye whiskey, and that's the double barrel they sell. This one's the triple barrel, though. 3 barrels. So they take the double barreled rye that they've created and then add it in. Guess what do you think? What do you think it is going to be, Dave? Which type of cask are they going to rebarrel this in?
They're going to rebarrel this in sherry.
No.
Okay.
Rum.
Expert.
Rum? What?
Rum.
We just talked about
Dave, you've been looking for a rum barrel.
Yeah, just talked about that. So this is their Fortress rum that they create in Nova Scotia, and they rebarrel it in that. So you get some funky vibes to this thing. It's really like complex and interesting.
So far off the nose, it smells good. I've got that good, like, pungent rye, but it's like,
okay.
I'm getting, like I said earlier, that honey, that sweetness, a little floral, a little everything. It's kind of mixing around in there.
Mm-hmm.
A little pepper. It's like somebody just like sprinkled a little pepper in front of it.
Daryl, what do you think?
I'm trying to get past. It's still getting a lot of ethanol out of my glass. I get rye spices. I'm not pulling any honey. I don't know. I've been messing with our bees all week. They've been quite the headache.
Getting the artificial honey.
Yeah. I'm not getting the honey, but again, like I said, I've been messing with the bees, so I've been around the honey in the hives, which smells much different even after you process it. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go right to palate on it.
I poured it into
the
my Canadian Glencairn here, so maybe it's letting the ethanol out a little quicker.
That's
to be able to open up.
That's a really good point, actually. It could be the different glass giving you different notes. And I'm getting a metallic note on this, actually.
Really?
So the first few times I tried it, I was like enamored with it. Just like sweet, cool, a lot going on with that rum finish. You know, you get the traditional, I believe it's 12 years old, sourced rye from Canada, which is great stuff. We talked about Whistlepick a few times. That's the same stuff, essentially. Gets rebarreled into another rebarreled cask, and then throw in the rum cask, and you get this funky rye that's got a lot of character. Mm-hmm. But then as I started smelling, I get this like aluminum tin can kind of nose on it, and it really kind of turned me off a bit. So since then, it's not an off-putting nose, but it just I've been zoned in on that smell for a while. So yeah,
crazy.
Yeah, for me it's like a copper now that you're saying it.
Yeah,
as opposed to a tin can.
But boys, get on the palate here.
Maybe that's what I was trying to say was the ethanol.
Get on the palate. This is spicy. This is tingly. This is going to light up your life.
Yeah, it's okay.
No. No.
This is a $60 bottle.
Processing and all.
I believe it's $60 bottle, and for the price, I love that it's full Canadian made. I love that they transport the sourced Canadian whiskey to Nova Scotia and try to do new things with it. But for $60, it's leaving me a little lackluster.
Really?
Yeah, it really
I
is.
find that interesting because we've gone through some other whiskeys tonight, and this is all filmed in one night.
Yeah.
But for a whiskey hitting me, 6 ounces in, this is now ounce number 7 sipping on it.
Yeah.
And I'm quite impressed that it's holding up against what we have previously had this evening.
Yeah, and we have previously had some, like, Seven Rebels was a very special pour and good pour. So it does hold up well. I will say. I
think, like, for me, the spiciness in my mouth, like, I think it's the rye that's coming through that just is creating like a big punch in my palate that I'm enjoying.
Yeah, and I was gonna say that's probably what's lighting up your mouth, is that it's got a cinnamon rye spice in there that I think you really love, because you love the Lot 40, and that's that flavor.
I do love the Lot 40.
There's something on the finish. I'm not quite sure what it is.
I have
just kind of sitting at the back.
I think that might be the rum that you're
this
picking
close.
Up
I've been this close to opening my Alberta Premium cast strength. I haven't opened it yet since we did our last tasting, and that last tasting, Ian, I think, gave me the sample for it so that I didn't have to open it. But I've been drinking Lot 40 rye this week. I've been having it a lot. I've been mixing it with some ginger ale. It's been helping me get through a tough week. And hitting some of this, like, every time I come down and I grab my bottle of Lot 40, I look over at that cast strength Alberta Premium and I'm like, oh, I want to open you so badly. But I also want to be able to, like, open it with some friends and be able to enjoy it with some people together. But this Glennevan, I think I'm having a bit of a relationship with rye. Don't tell bourbon. Don't tell bourbon.
I think you've always had that relationship with rye.
Don't tell bourbon.
Yeah.
Okay, don't. But I'm really enjoying this rye.
Hey, bourbon. Guess what's going on in Dave's world?
I just love the punch that rye gives me. There's like such a party in my mouth that rye ignites, I find.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Rye is a fantastic whiskey. Maybe even underappreciated. I think it's starting to see that blossom a little more with where rye ranks in a lot of people's mind. This one's funky. That finish on it, like, I think that's the rum. I don't really notice the rum until the finish, and it's this like weird kind of spice with like a sweetness. Yeah, maybe even like a fruitcake kind of like in the back of your throat.
Mm-hmm.
Have you actually eaten a fruitcake? Don't you just throw those out if people bring those around Christmas? So are you supposed to eat them, or they just toss them?
No, you put them back in the cupboard and bring them back out. They never go bad.
Yeah, I don't like fruitcakes. Maybe that's why this is lackluster to me, but it's got a lot of complexity though. Like, I feel like, the fruitcake, how it has that candied fruit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like candied fruit. It's kind of weird to me, but I feel like I get that with the rum. I think the rum mixing with that sweet rye, because we're at a 12-year-old rye right now.
Yeah.
At that 12-year-old age statement, the rye goes to a lot of candy notes. It goes from that like spicy, punchy, grassy hay kind of rye to this like sweet candied note, and I feel like this really hits that. But then you add that rum to it, and it's like, oh, let's throw some fruity weird stuff in there, and I'm like, like it's kind of cool, but I don't know what to do with this. And
I think for me, the rum, the more I drink it, the rum comes through more and more, and I'm not a huge rum fan. So it's kind of dissuading me from it. I love that rye spice that comes through in the middle, but at the beginning I'm getting rum, at the end I'm getting rum. So I don't think I could drink much of this. Rum just seems to It's not an agreeable one for
Oh,
me.
see, and I love rum. I love all sorts of rum, spice rum, whatever rum you want to throw at me, a little rum and coke. Woo, baby, yeah.
Well, that makes sense that you're loving this then, because I think
so.
you're picking up on a lot of that nuance. I wonder what Joe would think of this one.
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah. So my bro-law's brother-in-law, Joey, who works with me, I tried to get him to like whiskey. We did a whiskey podcast for my Breakfast with the Bro-laws podcast. Didn't pan over so well. Even when we were re-listening to the episode, I was like, guys, this was so much fun. We need to do another one. And he was like, no. But maybe we just didn't get the right sort for him. Maybe we need to get a little rum in there for him. You still had a little bit in that bottle, didn't you? Maybe I can trick him into drinking some of it.
Yeah, we'll definitely. Cool bottle. It's got a nice little label on it.
Very cute.
Like very Nova Scotian. With a nice chrome topper. I'm proud of what Canada's doing overall. Craft, major distiller, anything like that. I feel like we're stepping up to a challenge that's been produced. Well, it may not hit my profile as much as I'd like it to. I think that they're doing great stuff, and I'm stoked to see what comes out next. This just leads the way for more people. Last Straw, Lowen McKinnon, or whatever however you say that. Two brewers. There's a bunch of people doing really great stuff that I really want to try and see. You know, Whiskey in the Six, another YouTube channel, talks about that, the Canadian factor. So I'm stoked to see what comes out of it. Canadian whiskey doesn't hit my palate the same as it does Dave's or Daryl's. You know, I think Daryl's very much a Canadian fanboy, loves Wisers and whatnot, whereas I find it a little sweet. And Dave's whiskey journey's, you know, kind of narrowing down to what he loves. So it's fun to walk through a different whiskey and see what's going on. But the Canadian pride's real right now with what we've tried tonight, especially with going through a few of these. So it's fun.
Yeah. I got to agree completely with you. And I'm actually pretty amazed because like in my little wall and my little tiny collection that I have back here, the Canadian whiskey has been something that I haven't been going to as much. I've got some Lot 40, some Wisers, and I find that it's a good mixing whiskey, maybe a little bit more on ice. It tastes a little bit better, but straight up, I keep leaning a little bit more towards the Kentucky bourbon. Lot 40 would probably be my top Canadian whiskey so far. But then working through this profile, I mean, we did an episode on Bareface, we did an episode on Seven Rebels, and then now this Glennevan, and I'm getting more and more amazed by it. I don't know if it's just because I've been enjoying drinking whiskey with friends so much, but I'm proud of these Canadian brands that we've just walked through. Like, these are more that I would want to buy and put on this shelf behind me to not only represent Canada, but also be able to have some good whiskey to share with some friends. Like, I think the last glass of whiskey I shared was my father-in-law, who came over before we went down into a lockdown, and he was here and he found out I had a whiskey collection. And he was like, oh, maybe I'll have a little glass of that. Nice. And he used to love sherry.
Just a little taste.
He really liked sherry. So I poured him some sweeter samples. I think I started him off with like a Four Roses single barrel that I had. And then I gave him
that Four Roses single barrel won our blind.
It did, and that's why.
Please reference back. I wish I could put a link, but you guys need to subscribe so we can put that link up there. So let's get after it. But keep going, Dave.
Yeah, so he really enjoyed that, and then I gave him some more samples, and then I gave him a Wisers 15. I might have given him the Wisers 18, and he was surprised by the sweetness of it, and he was like, "Oh, this one tastes a lot stronger than the others." And I'm like, actually, it's the lowest alcohol percentage because you're old and I didn't want to get you too drunk before you head home. But he really enjoyed that Wisers 18. So I don't know. I love the profile that we have. I love creating a whiskey shelf that you can have a variety to share with friends. So this Glennevan having some rum in it, if you have somebody in your house or coming by that is a rum person that wants to try some whiskey, I think this is a great start for them, because I love that sweet candied rye sweetness, but then that rum undertone is really coming through nicely.
Mhm. And Daryl, you kind of lean the opposite, don't
absolutely.
you? Like you're not a rum guy, so I think it's kind of you notice the
I'm not a
ethanol
rum guy.
You notice the ethanol right away.
The ethanol and
yeah.
And when you mentioned the metallic, I think that's what I was pulling as ethanol. And the more I drank it, the more rum I was pulling from it. It's an enjoyable whiskey, absolutely, but it wouldn't be a go-to for me. I would have 1 dram of it and move on to something else. But it's absolutely delicious. If you're like Dave and you like rum, definitely try it out. And further to Canada and what we're doing on the whiskey scene, the world's starting to take notice of the quality we're creating. We won a lot of awards this year for 2021 at the World Whiskey Awards, and for the first time, I think, ever for a Canadian whiskey, Lot 40 Dark Oak won rye
Did it
worldwide? So the best rye in
Wow.
the world.
Yeah. I went back to the Dark Oak in a blind.
That's amazing for a small country.
Have you seen who was it? I think it's 40 Creek. One of the companies is trashing all the other Canadian companies in their ad campaign.
Goodness.
It's hilarious.
It's so
amazing.
Good. 40 Creek has been hilarious with it all.
It is 40 Creek? Yeah, I was just trying to find it. But
like
their ads
smashing Wisers, smashing Crown. It's hilarious. It's like good on them.
Right?
They're tongue in cheek having fun with it all. It's so good.
Yeah, absolutely. And you got to do something right now to bring some humor into people's lives.
I think one of the other notes I'm pulling on this Glennevan as we're going through it is a little bit of brown sugar.
Okay.
There's like a brown, and I think it might be that candied sweetness, that dark rum almost.
Oh, yeah.
But some brown sugar.
Mm-hmm. I think I would have that would have been what I pulled off on the beginning, is that brown sugar. As soon as you smell it, it's that rye with this brown sugar. So I think of kind of like a rye bread, or like maybe add a little bit of fruit. So those after you bake an apple pie, you have the extra dough and you wrap it all up with brown sugar and cinnamon.
Yes.
That's what I think of when I think of this. And it's
I want it all.
I know.
Have you ever done this? Taken so this is something my wife's family did that I thought was so weird, but it's actually pretty delicious. A piece of toast. Now let's do this with rye toast.
Okay.
Toast it in the toaster.
Yeah.
Maybe on 4, maybe 4.5. Let it pop up. Some butter.
Yep.
Some butter. Then I think they do a little bit of honey, and then brown sugar on top of the toast. And they do it kind of thick because
honey and then brown sugar.
Butter, honey, brown sugar.
Interesting.
It's delicious.
That would be good. So Sarah will do toast, butter it, get brown sugar and a little cinnamon in a bowl, muddle it all together, and then sprinkle on top. So
yes, all of that. I'm gonna go upstairs and make some toast right after this.
You could probably use it right now.
Yeah. Uber Eats some McDonald's to yourself, whatever you need.
Best idea I've ever heard. Little 11 o'clock McDonald's. What would you order right now? 11 o'clock. What's your McDonald's guilty pleasure order?
This is actually really good. Daryl, go ahead, because I know mine really well.
Double quarter pounder meal.
Oh, that's so boring. Two junior chickens.
But that's what I'm gonna go to.
Two junior chickens, two double cheeseburgers, and a filet of fish meal.
A filet of fish? You're gonna throw?
You're like,
he's gonna throw a filet.
But you're also like twice as tall as me, so
that is a great order.
Like he's twice as tall as me, so he's got a lot more room to fit.
Mine would be a quarter pounder cheese only meal, quarter pounder meal only cheese, and then I would throw a medium Oreo McFlurry in there with some caramel sauce. Okay. But Ian, your junior chickens, and oh my goodness, that's a lot.
You
The
can't.
fillet of fish, to throw the fillet of fish on top of that was a gamble, though. That's a straight up gamble. Like,
Well,
already you're dealing with a lot to put in your body
I'm
at
not
11
saying
o'clock.
the next day is going to be good.
No.
What I'm saying
But
is I'm
just
going to enjoy
picture-
my life. I live my life a quarter mile at a time. Or
This one
you know.
moment. Exactly.
Ian rolling into bed with fillet of fish mouth.
It wouldn't matter.
Making
anyway.
memories.
Shit, this is the best Thursday I've ever had, guys.
Yes.
This is a good reminder of why we
great.
do this.
Absolutely.
We started this whiskey podcast because we all enjoyed whiskey and we're like, hey, this is a fun thing to do. Let's jump on this. And like, some of our friends like doing whiskey tastings with us, but they aren't as into jumping into it as often as we might want to. And like, we've been having a lot of fun with this, but we got so carried away with work, family, business, and now coming back to this is just a great reminder of why we enjoy doing this.
Exactly. Well said.
Yeah.
So I think we've said enough about Mr. Glennevan over here. I vote Glennevan thumbs up. You guys are on the fence about him.
Stay in there.
For
Yep,
me,
yep. It's
It was
not
a
the
down.
it's not the glade. It's the gladiator. So it's not going up or down.
Okay,
It's staying
okay.
sideways. Yeah.
Staying sideways, you're gonna let them fight to the death.
Yeah.
But I'm a fan of it.
for me, remove the rum barrel. And on that note, share good whiskey and let the proof do the talking. We're Northern Proof. Cheers,
I
everyone.
hope you better like and subscribe on our video. Cheers.